Hello everybody, welcome back to Edgewater, Saskatchewan, episode number 31 now. So, I haven't played Farming Simulator, for a little while. I've not been feeling too well, if I'm honest with you. I've had a lot going on at work. I've been pretty tired, to be honest. Most days I get home, I kind of fall asleep on the sofa, so I've not really played this. I reckon 6, maybe 7 days since I last played this, and normally by now, if I try and stick to my own schedule, which I never do, I would have released a roleplay actually over the weekend, but I've mentioned it before, they take so long to record and edit. I've just been too tired and I've skipped it, and I thought, do you know what? Just jump straight back into a Saskatchewan one. It's a little bit easier for me to kind of do the editing and get an episode out nice and quick, and at least I can kind of talk real to people, and kind of explain, I've been a bit poorly, hence the reason why I've not got those episodes out. So yeah, we're going to jump into this one. Be kind of a standard length episode, I think, and yeah, try and make up for lost time, I guess. So yeah, pretty much know what we've got to do. I do remember that from the last episode, so we need to build up the funds there. So 7,243. It's probably gone down a little bit, just because obviously we skipped a month, like we do at the beginning of every episode. But we need to get that to 32,000 or just over, so we can afford the pickup. So that's kind of where we were at, really. And that is the goal for today's episode. So we were at a point, I think, where we could just sell off a couple of pigs at the beginning of each episode. So we'll just head down there, have a look at that, and then we'll get started with that first of all. Now again, just like every time, Giants has obviously had some form of update, and all I've got here is lag. No matter what I do, just lag. Nothing's changed, no settings have changed. Everything is exactly the same, but it's just completely lagging. Now, whether or not it's because it's the first time I've kind of loaded into the map since doing the update, maybe it kind of needs to restore some of the cache or something just to help it load a little bit faster. Maybe after this recording it will start speeding up again, but this did happen last time, I remember. It was really annoying. They are definitely still breeding. Okay, so let's have a look at the little pigs. So I'm pretty certain we've got the 20 again. Yep, and we're going to need to start selling off some of these more expensive ones. So that one's just given birth. In fact, let's not do it in that one. Let's jump into the pickup truck. Let's do it from this menu. We'll load them straight in then. So that one there, that one for definite, reproduction is at 0%. So that one's kind of made its money worth for us, done a good job. So we'll move that one to the trailer. And then we'll find the next best one. So these are also at 0. So maybe we sell 2 of those. That one's 75, so we'll keep that one. That's 75. That's also 75. So there's 3 there in the next month that are going to have babies. So really we need to be selling 3, a bit like the episode before. So let's just take one of those away. Again, anything after this point is just free money, really. So we'll move that one to the trailer as well. There we go. So there's 2 of them. So that's good. That sets us up for the first kind of thing to do. Now I do notice in the background there's a half decent amount of soybean. Oh, sorry little piggies. But yeah, half decent amount of soybean there. It is at almost its lowest value, I think. In fact, I will just check while we are looking. Yeah, so of course, we're in September, and September is absolute rock bottom. So 1,203, and at the minute, it's even less than that. So brilliant. Absolutely not the right time to sell it. However, it is money, isn't it? So we're not really doing a lot to try and generate that money, really, other than kind of keeping it topped up with manure, which in theory should be doing alright. Yeah, so that doesn't need manure at all. It's looking pretty good still, to be honest with you. We can top that up, I reckon, today. Just keep it topped up. But to be honest, these are generating. This is the bonus of keeping this kind of pigsty at its maximum capacity. That's generating quite a lot of manure now. And we haven't even checked the slurry. How are we doing for slurry? Look, nearly 10,000 litres of slurry now. You know, that will eventually go a half decent way towards a free fertilising session, I guess, on the grass field. So, really good. So what I will do first of all, I won't time-lapse the drive. I never like to start an episode with a time-lapse, but we will just head down and get rid of these two. It'll boost the money in a little bit, ever so slightly, but the main reason being is, you know, we want the pigs to continue producing. You will find as I'm going along in the episode, I kind of have to keep pausing, looking at the menu, kind of refreshing myself with what's going on, because it's amazing how much you kind of lose, how much kind of progress you lose by not playing it for a short while. Especially when you're on like a couple of maps as well. Sometimes jumping between the two, I kind of, like I've said before, I'm a bit like a goldfish. I kind of forget what I was doing pretty quickly. Okay, there we go. Not very much money, about £1,800 there roughly. But again, like we said, it's more to create the space. So $9,048. So that's pretty good. So we'll just head on back now and try and get on with one of our first jobs. So it's going to be kind of a salesy day, I guess. Certainly for the first part. We'll see how long that does actually take me to do. It could be a whole episode of just selling stuff. Or it could be an episode with a bit of harvesting or at least a bit of swathing in the meantime. So we'll see how it goes. Now I have been thinking as well in my kind of downtime, whilst I've not really felt up to playing the game, I've been kind of planning things in my head. So I do really like the idea of that kind of real. I don't know if ultra realistic is maybe the right word, because it's impossible to be ultra realistic because it's a game. But certainly the realism. And just a few little kind of random ideas, I guess, just to make it a bit different to the norm. So I've had a look on some third-party sites. Obviously I will run that series as purely PC mods only, just so I get a big selection. But I was thinking I found a it's like a little Peugeot, but you can have taxi decals on it. So just extra little bits, I guess. You know, I was gonna install that, add that to the map, and for example, if we got the tractor stuck, obviously using all of the kind of mud mods and everything, and we had to pay to get it reset to the shop, we would then either need to walk to the shop or potentially hire a worker in the little taxi and jump in a taxi or in a cab and just get a ride down to the shop. So yeah, just things like that really, things that are a bit different but just a little bit real. Yeah, all sorts of ideas. I keep thinking of something different. I'm gonna have to get a bit of paper actually and start writing them down, because I think of a good idea and then I forget it. Okay, same as last time. We'll park that back up there. We'll potentially look to put a couple more pigs into there nearer the end of the episode maybe. For a minute, there's nothing else to do down here really, is there? What was their food situation? I'm getting so carried away with selling the pigs, I'm not checking the food. Okay, I mean they're still doing good, to be honest. We will need to look at that at some point, but for a minute they're doing alright. So that is good. So we're just going to check in on the fermenting to see how much silage we got, because we need to sell it. We also need to sort out the nitrogen and probably sort out the pH. Yeah, the pH is really bad. So we do need to do a little bit of work on this. Of course it shows ready to harvest. It's at its kind of first harvesting stage. It's never worth the time you spend cutting grass at that stage. It's always worth leaving it the extra bit. But you can seem to fertilise and lime raise the pH levels even when it is fully grown and ready to harvest, which I don't think you can do on a normal field, but it does work, so we won't worry about cutting that for a moment. But that will of course be the first proper cut with the swather, which means we won't need to use the rake. So there's a few £100 sat there on that rake, which we can get rid of. Now, good. So it's still got 54,000 litres of grass to ferment, which is fine. But wow, I didn't calculate that very well. It's got 222,000 litres of silage ready to sell. That is incredible. I'm sure in the last episode I seem to remember adding it up roughly and I didn't get anywhere near that figure. So let's just have a look, see what the silage is looking like. So best price, bale auction, 495. I want to say the bale auction is also the one that pays you the additional environmental score, I want to say. They are the ones that pay it. So 564 is the best price. At the minute, 495. You know, what's $60-70 per thousand. We need the money. At least it's not at its lowest. Not far off its lowest. But we need to do some for definite. We're going to have to do a few loads either way. It does mean, of course, that kind of quick decision I made in buying this beautiful looking trailer over here, which doesn't take silage. It means that we're going to have to go old school. We're going to have to go back to this one, which I'm not particularly looking forward to. But hey, what choice do I have? I also sold the other trailer, didn't I? So I can't even run the two together anymore. At least last time, although it went the long way around, at least last time I could use both the tractors with a worker. But hey, doesn't matter. Now again, apologies if you keep seeing a lot of lag, because I do. Every time I get into something it lags. Every time I change from this view to the internal view it lags, which is quite common. The game always seems to do that. I'll do a little bit of tweaking, a bit of editing. Hopefully it won't look too bad by the time the episode comes out, but it is a pain. It is really annoying. Now, we're going to head down. Of course I'm going to have to do this myself, because if you set the worker it decides to drive the absolute longest way around, and that's just frustrating. So we're going to have to do it ourselves. Thank you for the comments as well. I'll just jump into the menu while I'm remembering. So, you know, it's funny, no matter how much you play the game, you think you know it, you actually don't. There's always something new. There's always something you learn every day. I think Daggerwin's a good example of that, actually, isn't he? Because he quite often gets comments where he learns stuff and does things differently in different episodes, and he, you know, he's a guy who's played it ever since pretty much the get-go. And he, you know, he has the ability or the time to do an episode per day. So even someone who plays as many thousands and thousands of hours as much as Daggerwin, I'm sure, still learns new things every day. But what I did learn was the environmental score only changes after you do the harvest. So this did change. So it's 66 now. So good. And that's only going to get better because, you know, the nitrogen score, the pH score is pretty bad, and it's at 66 now, so that's great. This one didn't change, but I did have a bit of a heads up, and just to try and get rid of the field area, there's a few little spots of land in amongst that. So if I delete the whole lot, hopefully that will get rid of that score. And then this one here, obviously still at 54, because we haven't harvested yet, so that should change once we've done that. But the environmental score is at 59, which is good. Really, really good. Now, what I might do before I get on with the drive is jump into construction and see if I can delete the little bit of land around here and see if that does make a difference to the environmental score. And it's all of this here that you can see it because the colour's different. So it's a bit annoying because I'm going to have to delete the bushes, but we'll make up for that in our first load if that score jumps up. So let's just do that real quick. Probably won't time lapse, by the way. I'll just click this bit out. Okay, wow. I've done it. I've just kind of painted out all of the ploughed field in that area of land. It does still show a score there, by the way. But maybe, again, maybe that will go, maybe in the next game month. I'm not too sure. I'll have to see when I. But the data is out of date. Maybe I need to buy the data again. But the score is still there, 44. But when you go into here, this is obviously the field. It was grass. When I now turn the grass on and off, like so, you can clearly see there is absolutely nowhere there now, which is showing grass. So I assume it will disappear. Now what I will just do is turn all of my little logos back on again. Yeah, we'll have to see. If anyone knows, maybe I'm still missing a trick, but I'm pretty certain I've not missed any of the ploughed fields there. Okay, just pulling up with the first load of many. So we'll just see how much this is going to get us. This will give us a pretty good idea of what we are going to make. It's not too bad though. I'm hoping this environmental score is going to help as well. I mean, in theory, you should get about 8, maybe 9,000 per load. So, a couple of these. What have we got? So, yeah, about, let's say, £8,200 per load. We've got plenty of it. We've got plenty of loads to do as well. This is going to take me forever. So, to save the minutes of the video, to have quality kind of footage, I guess, I think I will probably clip the majority of these. I'm thinking maybe let's just do enough loads to buy that pickup, to buy the harvester pickup, which was about 32,500, I want to say. So once we've done that, we can kind of get on with something a little bit more interesting. I really shouldn't have sold that trailer. Really should not have sold that trailer for the truck, because that was where, I mean, don't know, do I buy another one? Is it worth spending this money we make on the trailer so I can then cart it? I don't know. I haven't even looked in the shop. What's in the used? Ooh. Oh, I'm just gutted we haven't got that money, because that, I like that. 188 horsepower. How fast? 31 miles per hour. That's pretty much exactly what I want. There or thereabouts. I don't really use the case too much, you know. Especially that shape. I think I just downloaded it as a selection of kind of medium tractors to have really loaded into the map, but I actually quite like that. It's different looking. I don't see a lot of people using that particular one, so that of course always makes it even more interesting for me when I don't actually see it get used. 53,000. It's a pretty basic model. Doesn't really have a lot of extras. Yeah, it costs more to. But then we can upgrade it as well. 203 horsepower. Part of me thinks I keep going with these loads and get that. What's the John Deere worth? The bigger of the two. Oh, that's pretty pathetic, really. The little one's worth more than that one. That doesn't really make any sense. Oh, I don't know. There is also a trailer there, but then that's 17,000. Yes, it would save a little bit of time, but really that doesn't make sense. And time is not really anything, because I'm going to clip all the time from a video point of view anyway. So that would probably just be a waste of money. Although I guess there's nothing stopping us selling it again after we've used it. But that, I mean, I like that. I said that last episode, I think. That's still there from the last time. I do really like the look of that, but it's just not going to happen. But this, 53,000. Even that's pretty cool, isn't it? That is pretty cool. We could even get rid of the little tractor to have that instead. Wow. There always seems to be something in the shop that I want to waste money on. Seems to be a bit of a problem. I think I might have to start going to some groups to talk about this problem. But anyway, I'm just going to keep going. I won't bore you too much, so I'll clip out a couple of trips. Maybe if I get carried. If I don't fall asleep, which I might do at 20 miles per hour, I'll do a few more extra loads, and maybe we see how close we can get to getting that tractor. Because I do actually really want that now. We'll see. So just while I'm slowly making my way back, and I do mean slowly, I just thought I'd kind of, while it's coming to my head a bit more on the kind of the realistic type thing, if I do decide to do that. So definitely going for the map. Bit of a strange name really, but the Valley, the Old Farm. Which is quite a long-winded name actually for a farming simulator map, but the map itself does look incredible. It's by Black Sheep Modding. I've played quite a few of their maps. They do quite a lot of the kind of the popular mods, not just the maps. They are really good. I followed them and their group for quite a while, so it is a good map. That does look like the kind of map to go for. Again, just from kind of some rules while they're popping into my head, if we were to buy a new piece of equipment, for example a new tractor, again we wouldn't just teleport to the shop to get into that tractor. We would need to get to the tractor, so it could mean potentially a really long walk across the map, or it could be again hiring that helper, that kind of taxi cab, and getting a lift in to town, I guess, or as close to the shop as they would go. I probably wouldn't put in the auto drive routes, kind of custom ones. I'd probably leave it to the main roads, the roads which they are set to drive on, because that would mean I would kind of have to walk the last little bit. The taxi would only drop you so far, and you'd have to walk the last little bit. So I think that just sounds like a good idea. But yeah, just another thing. I might keep randomly popping in with these random little thoughts I'm having, random little rules that I think of. I am definitely going to have to get a bit of paper and start writing them down though, because I'm kind of losing track. Wow, got here eventually. Second load. I've made an executive decision. I can't keep doing this. This is just ridiculous. And the fact that I can't even get the other tractor running is just painful. So let's unload this. What we're gonna do is sell the header for the combine. So we've used it once. It's still worth a decent amount of money, maybe about 40,000. To be honest, we ain't going to be using it again for a little while. It was genuine, we paid full price for it. But yeah, the next harvest we do is going to be flax. And we're saving up now. This is the whole reason we're doing it. We're saving up for the pickup. The header is just not really needed, to be honest with you. And actually, that was a compromise anyway, because it wasn't the widest we could go for. So in the meantime, the widest one may come up in the shop, may come up a bit cheaper, or if it gets to a point where we need it, then we'll just buy it again. But temporarily it's going to solve some problems, and it's going to save me a heck of a lot of off-camera time. So I've had the combine drive to the store, and it's actually, this is how slow the tractor is. It's beat me here. With that huge great header, it still beat this tractor here. Honestly, you just wouldn't believe it. So we're going to sell it. We're going to sell the combine. Not the combine. I don't want to sell the combine. We're going to sell the header. The header's probably worth more than the combine anyway. But we're going to sell that header. And we're going to buy the tractor. Believe it or not. Because I cannot keep doing this at 20 miles per hour. I just can't do it. And actually, the tractor is a long-term benefit. It's a huge benefit, in fact. The sheer amount of power that it has, we should be able to get jobs done a lot quicker. On top of the fact that it's half the speed of that tractor again. So we're going to sell the header. I've drove it down on the combine because naturally, how else would you get it to the shop? But also we need the combine here to take the pickup back, which we will, fingers crossed, be buying quite soon. So either way, the combine's got to be here. So what we would do is we'll just park that up over there out of the way. Try and keep it relatively neatly. And before I jump straight in and sell the John Deere, I'm hoping the 24,761 we have plus that will buy that case. I hope. So it's worth, yeah, just under 40. So we'll repair it. I'm surprised it needs that much paintwork doing, considering we've only done one harvest with it, and that was brand new, wasn't it? I'm sure it was brand new. But again, I'm pretty sure it is worth spending the money on the repainting, because you always get that tiny little bit more. 2,803, 39. Yeah, couple hundred dollars extra, look, and that was worth 42,177. So we'll sell it. There we go. So we now have 64,111, but of course that's kind of fake money. We need this. Definitely. Absolutely. In fact, I'm quite excited about having this tractor. It's also got the front linkage. Look, I didn't even really look at that last time round. Now, I don't always like the Trelleborg tyres. They're not always my kind of first choice, to be honest with you. So we'll see if other brands are going to, well, cost us the same. I should say not cost us anymore. Probably make more sense. Michelin's, they look pretty good. I do like the look of Mitas, but they're actually going to cost us more, so that's no good. BKT. I quite like the look of those, actually. Yeah, so we'll go with them. Standard, wheel weights. Just keep it standard. Interior design. We're not bothered about that. Beacons. It's nice to have them, but it's fine. Yeah, there we go. $53,111. Obviously, I've just stuck the old Ruzi number plate. So we're going to buy that. And I'm really happy we bought that. I am really happy we bought that. That again, you know, I can't remember. Was it the last episode that I made another really good buy? It might have been the sprayer episode. Essentially 3 episodes in a row. Honestly, I said it before, I genuinely don't know how to select, if there is even a way to do it. I don't think there is, but I genuinely don't have the ability to pick what goes in that shop. It is purely random, but honestly it's given us some really good deals. Now, well, we might as well repair and repaint. Let's go. So we've 10,999. Let's repair and repaint. Brilliant. Great. Really good. Well, we need to keep checking in on this shop. Imagine if the pickup was to appear. I say that and it will appear, and then everyone would genuinely think I'm taking the mick. That would be quite handy if it did. Right, let's get this going. Look at this. And considering it's old and worn and second hand, it doesn't look too bad, does it? It's a bit worn on the old hitches, but actually looks pretty good. Do you know, I never use case. I never really utilise the case tractors in the game, and I never have, and I don't know why. Because everyone likes a bright red tractor. But it's quite nice, quite exciting to use a case. This is one of the first times really I've actually used a case tractor, and I like it already because it's already faster than that last one. Amazing. Well, I'll tell you what, first impressions of this tractor is really good. It's also got a little bonus 2 miles per hour. It's doing 33. It said it only did 31. I'm not complaining. Every little miles per hour helps, doesn't it? One thing that I didn't really think of actually, but the other John Deere, every time I connected up this forage wagon, it kind of bounced, it kind of jumped off the ground because it didn't have the right kind of hitch. Whereas this one actually, when you look at it, sits quite nicely now. It's actually raised it. In fact, if I lower the pickup, you can actually see it move, which you couldn't do on the John Deere. It made absolutely no difference at all. So it's definitely the better sort of tractor for the job, and I really do like it. In fact, that felt quite speedy getting back to here. So in actual fact, 2 more of these trips should do it. That should get us our pickup today. Which is really good news. I would in the meantime set the swather in the field just to start getting us some rows of crop. But I haven't tried it, but I'm pretty certain I read the map isn't actually set up to work with the worker, or the swathers aren't set up to work with the workers yet. So that's one bit that we're going to have to do manually. To be honest, we'll probably do it all manually anyway, first time round. Quite excited to give it a go. This is one of my favourite buys yet. It's just so much faster. So much better to be doing work like this. I'm not even too bothered now about selling the semi-trailer, which I was a bit frustrated about. I was annoyed with myself for doing it, but this is kind of made up for it. Hey, everything happens for a reason, doesn't it? Alright, let's give it a go. So yeah, I reckon one more load after this one. We should have enough then for our pickup. So we'll just see what we finish on, but yeah, I'm pretty sure now this should kind of clear it. 26,000 yet, so we're still getting pretty much about 8,200 per load. So that will put us on just shy of 35,000, and I'm pretty sure, I'll be annoyed if it doesn't actually, because that'll be an extra load just for that, but I am pretty sure in headers 32, yeah, that's what I thought. 32,500, perfect. Don't really need to do any changes to it. What on earth is a crop catcher? Does that really make a difference? I don't know, I don't even know what that is, to be honest with you. For 500 quid, we should have enough anyway. I'll just get it to play it safe, but honestly it doesn't make any difference. It's probably just for show, I would have thought. Right, we'll head on back. I think for now this will be the last one that I do this episode, because the last load I do this episode, because it's just kind of, for me, it's really repetitive. From a video point of view, probably doesn't seem too bad, but yeah, it's a bit much. I think probably we'll get one more load, buy the pickup, and then just do a little bit of swathing, just to kind of get ready to start us off for the next episode, I guess. But I think that'll work out alright. Won't be too bad an episode. Alright, there we go. Last load for this episode at least anyway. So money's still going up, which is good. £34,922 we have. So we've got enough to get the pickup. We've got enough to pay that random 500 quid for that thing, which I don't really know what it does. To be honest, I might just leave it, get it right at the beginning of the next episode, because someone maybe that gives you a little bit more of a yield bonus, stops you losing so much crop, or maybe it actually makes no difference at all. Given that pretty much puts us down to 0, I am probably going to wait and see if anyone mentions anything, because 500 quid is probably 2 sleeps, two kind of skips overnight, and in a minute we're going to go minus again if I'm not too careful. So that 500 quid is quite important actually. Previously I've always got the low loader to take this, but it's kind of pointless because it doesn't fit on the header trailer anyway. So we're just driving down the road with something just as wide as what it is now anyway. So I'm just going to drive it straight down there. I love the low loader, I love having the low loader, but I don't really need to have a low loader with that kind of header attachment on it. We've sold the main header and this one doesn't reach it anyway. So potentially we'll sell that low loader and replace it with a standard in-game one, which I quite like. I think that is a good trailer option anyway. I'm pretty sure that was just in the shop not so long ago, to be honest, but we'll keep an eye out for it, and we will probably replace that one. Now I'm gonna have to pull in. Oh, the drunk guy's back. I've said it before, I'm really limited with the amount of people that I can employ around this area. Such a vast place, not a lot of population. I have to keep employing that drunk guy. It's a bit of a nightmare. I did notice actually, I've been watching a few of Mr. Sealy P's Saskatchewan series, and I do keep noticing he always cuts these grass verges, and I just don't know how he does it. You don't own that land. I wonder, I mean, part of me wants to try it with this now to see if it cuts it, but then another part of me doesn't want to, because then there'll forever be cut grass there, because I'm not going to pick it up. So I'm not going to try it, but yeah, I've noticed a few times though, he cuts the verges pretty much. I don't know, the majority of them, it takes over most of the map, to be honest with you, to get his hundreds of thousands of silage bales all piled up. But yeah, unless he's bought the main land somehow, maybe. I don't know. I wonder if this swather will use a header trailer. It looks like it's got some sort of hitch on the back of it, maybe. That might be the plan for the future. Anyway, we are here. Hopefully, we're not going to have any issues getting this header into the field. I think it's okay. I think it's pretty wide. We might take out the cedar though. But yeah, it's pretty good, isn't it? Right, so this is all new to me. Let's get that lowered. I just drove all the way down here with it lowered already. That was a bit silly of me. Right, and let's just swath it up. Pretty good. Leaves quite a neat little swath as well, and it's fast. It's proper little speedy thing. This is not going to take very long at all. Not at all. Seems to chop a little bit of the grass on the way around as well, so I'm just trying not to get too close to the edge. Just find the sweet spot, just so it doesn't mix any random grass in. I'm assuming the pickup won't get affected by that anyway. I hope not. But I do know that sometimes if you kind of clash over crops, it deletes some of the crop to give you the different type. Hopefully it doesn't do that, but I am trying to avoid the grass as much as possible. So yeah, anyway, with the whole realistic thing, I know I've kind of struggled to do the roleplay, but that's not through lack of trying. It's just kind of not feeling up to it, I guess. You kind of can't help that sometimes. But I can spare the time, I'm pretty sure of it. I'll reduce this series down. I think I'll still keep this going 2 days a week. At the minute, I'm kind of averaging sort of 3. Just because I like the series, we're starting to make some real progression now. We're starting to get some really decent machinery, and I don't want to stop it. There's a lot of detail being put into this map, and it would be a shame to stop something so quickly. We've got a lot more to do on this map yet. We've got a lot more areas to take over, that is for sure. But that map, the valley, the old farm, I'll get used to the name eventually, does look like a really good map. And again, the detail that's gone into that is really good. And I just think, I mentioned it before, the first part of any new map, for me, is the best bit. And I think for me as a viewer, when I watch other series, I always feel the best bit is the start. You know, like Daggerwin is survival role plays. The initial episodes are always the best bit, the build up, the kind of starting from scratch. So yeah, I think it'll be a good little series, and we will start with nothing, literally nothing. So no vehicle, no chainsaw, no land, no kind of random trees to chop down. Just literally be zero money, and we're going to have to start from scratch. The contracts, the initial contracts that we do to make the kind of basic income will have to be kind of local, I guess, to where we start, because the last thing we want to do is spend half an episode walking halfway across the map to try and get the best contract. You know, we're not going to be able to be too picky. We're going to have to go probably with the contracts that are the closest, just so that we can get to them. I'll do a little bit of camera trickery. I use, again, PC mods. I use a bit of store delivery. So whenever we start a contract, all of the equipment which is down as borrowed in the shop will actually be at the field ready to go, rather than having to go to the shop every time. So we'll have to make our way to the field, and the equipment will be parked up just outside the field somewhere ready for us to get into. And same again, even when we've got a vehicle, when we do eventually finally buy our first vehicle, if we do a contract, the machinery will already be at the field, so we'll have to make our way to it. You know, it means we can probably go a little bit further aboard. We can head off to bigger fields when we can drive. But yeah, I think the whole concept of it sounds good. In my head it sounds good anyway. And I do think it will be enjoyable for me, at the very least. Okay, we're approaching the end. A little bit to do over there, but actually this hasn't taken very long. And these swaths actually look like quite decent ones as well, don't they? They look quite tall, quite thick. So I am hoping this yield is going to be pretty good. And also, if you get as much straw left over as you do crops, then we might need to think about investing a bit of money in that spinnery, you know, get some fabric on the go. And I have to take a look at it, and you know, I kind of forget actually there's still nearly 200,000 litres of silage that we need to sell. That's a lot. There's a lot of money's worth still there, you know. On top of everything else, we've got a decent amount of lettuce saved up for January. We've got a decent amount of soybeans saved up. January isn't a bad time to sell soybean. It's not the best time, but it isn't a bad time. We've got quite a bit. We've got those pigs that are generating us pretty much £2,000 a day now. In fact, the pigs are essentially paying for our maintenance, I guess, really. The farm property maintenance is being covered by the pigs, so maybe I don't need to worry too much about the extra money, like the £500 on the pickup thing. Yeah, it's all seeming pretty good. It's taken a little while, when it's taken 30 episodes essentially, but this is looking alright now. I like it, and this field looks pretty cool as well. I've not done a bad job of swathing that up, if I say so myself. That to me looks quite appealing. Not too bad. Right, I think, to be honest, I'm just gonna drive this back up to the farm. But actually, I think we're pretty much there. Don't know how I'm looking for time. I always find when I haven't played it for a few days, I immediately get out of practice and I just kind of lose all track of everything I'm doing. It's only once I've recorded 1 or 2 in a row do I actually remember what it is I'm meant to be doing. I just tried it, by the way. I just did try to cut the verge a little bit then, and it just comes up straight away. You don't have access to this land, so not too sure. A bit confused on that one. I've definitely seen him doing it though. And the thing is, to buy the surrounding areas of this map, it's over £1 million. And I can't imagine that's something that you could get to buy very easily on console. And I know he does play console, so I'm not too sure how he's managed to do that. Unless maybe I think actually there are those government subsidy signs, aren't there? Never really used them. Because on PC you can just use easy devs and kind of make your own hours up, make your own prices up. You can kind of do anything really on easy dev, but I guess on console there are the little signs you can place down which kind of give you free money, unlimited money maybe, if you just planted loads of them. Not too sure. Maybe that's what he's done, just to buy the surrounds. That would probably make more sense. Okay, right, we are back. It's one benefit to selling the header, as we now have a little bit of a space to park that. Obviously though, priority at some point is going to be this track. I really like that idea. Thanks again Copex for that, because that is a good suggestion. I'm definitely going to do that. But I'm just waiting for those fertilizer contracts to come up, just so I can earn that little bit of off-camera additional money. But yeah, I think this has been a good episode, you know. I think the timing's probably pretty good. We've sold a few loads. We've bought this absolute machine, which just looks pretty awesome. First time I've used it. I really like it. And we've also swathed the field. So first time we've had a case. First time I've swathed a field. A field of crops, that is. So this is all about learning this episode, I think. Been pretty enjoyable. So thanks again for watching. I will make a start on the realistic series. I'm certain I'm going to do it. What I'm holding off for is the newest update. I know that the most recent one has got a few glitches, a few little bugs. So I'm just waiting for the newest version of that just to come out, whether it's Mod Hub, whether I find it on the internet somewhere. As long as it's the genuine the black sheep version and it's the newest one, then we'll start setting that up and getting cracked on with that. And hopefully tomorrow I'll have the time to get that roleplay story mode episode recorded, maybe even the next one. We're going to be having the new house and things in the next episode, hopefully, or the next 2 episodes. And just to give you a little sneak peek, we're going to get our first bit of post. And I think it might be quite exciting, so I'm looking forward to setting up that episode as well. So thank you very much for watching, and in the meantime, until I see you around for the next episode, cheers and gone.